myself here. I have quite some long projects which I didn't want to spend too much time on it, but it proved a bit more challenging than it should have been. I have here 1, 2, 3 files for the 3-digit LCD. I have 2 folders actually named the same. This guy, which is here in in Proteus, the save folder for the Proteus simulator, another folder in electronic components, and the components, the LCD being a component, and it's a little bit confusing. So the 3-digit component that I'm talking is this guy here, and it's having this kind of driving modality. This kind of driving modality that you are seeing here. I summarized it and I color coded it, and I made it more clear. Originally, when I find it on internet, I believe it was like this. This was the original file that I find it on internet, how to drive it, and it's just, I mean, yeah, it's kind of helping, but nah, you have to actually stay and figure it out. Not too much explanations, and I don't really like it. So I made another one for myself, color coded and everything, and it makes more sense right now how to actually drive the pins. And this is the so this is the display. It's tiny. It's a tiny little guy, and I have 15 of this. It's a package with 5, and I bought them for a couple of $1 or $2 probably. I don't remember. It was that I liked them because they are small, and I like them because they are cheap. Okay, enough about this, because all the discussion is about what I tried so far to drive them. So this is a couple of days ago, 2 or 3 days ago. I tried everything. I really tried to drive a single segment. Like these letters here designates that they represent a segment, and the segment here, as you can see here, you see LCD segment is very clear. This guy is a LCD segment, and this is the function, if you want, how to drive it. I made these LEDs as it is an LCD segment because I don't have this component actually, the LCD segment in Proteus. When I have here on this line negatives, this guy, this inverter, this XOR gate is acting pretty much like an inverter, but with certain logic. Negative, this is putting positive. So the flow is from top to bottom and is hitting this guy here. In reality, it's only one segment, but here I'm representing with 2 segments. And when I'm pressing to positive here, so this line is positive, this line is switching to negative exactly as an inverter. And when it's switching to positive here, the flow of current is going from bottom to the top and surging through this guy. And the other LED is letting, this is the functionality, the entire functionality. So it's an alternative. So it's an alternative like this, only that is not sinusoidal, is not curved. It's actually square waved like this. It's square waved, and the zero is in the middle pretty much. And this is all that is doing. Is keeping a zero potential on the segment. Pretty much is like having, when it's moving very fast, pretty much is like having a positive and another positive here, and the negative is somewhere in the middle. This is how the LCD is represented when it's actually drive at 100 kilohertz. So this is how to visualize it. What is actually happening there? It's something weird. It's a little bit weird. It's like spitting a little bit of voltage from this direction, and then spitting a little bit of voltage from this direction, and it is like I'm showing you here. Also, this is an alternative with the middle zero crossing there. So it's a little bit funky. It's a little bit strange how to look at it and how to interpret it, but do not think too much on it. I just represent it as I'm understanding it. I'm a very visual person, so that's what I did. So let me get back how it was before. So pretty much, I believe I can actually use an inverter here, a NOT gate, and not this XOR gate. This is used probably for other commands. I will have to test this idea. Here are my tests. So I had a lot of ideas. So I had this idea, and I said, no, it's not good. Then I said, I had this idea, and I said, no, it's not good. I even had this idea with a couple of lines, and no, it's not good, that either. Then I said, 4028, I believe this is a BCD. Percentage, if I remember right. No, this is not a good idea either. This is just when I'm starting a project. I have a couple of pieces, components here prepared. Here I just wanted to show exactly what pins, when I'm clocking. You see, this is doing it automatically. 7447 is converting, is a BCD, but specifically made for 7 segments display, and for 7 segments common cathode. Because if you put common anode, you will have to. You can get rid of these inverters actually, and with a positive on top, and everything will surge through the chip pretty much. But I use this contraption that I'm having here. I put these guys here because what I really wanted was this signals here for making. Let me reset it so to 0. If I want number 1, I will have this guy and this guy. So segment B and segment C open. This is what I really wanted to see. I did whatever I could. I added all this extra stuff that is in the way pretty much. Is not really a good design, but I don't care, because all that I want this column here to actually tell me who is actually opening from this segment display, who is actually opening A, B, C. This is actually how it's numbered. If you don't know it, I know it by heart now because I spent some time with them, and I have so this is A here, this top one. The lateral, this is B, this is C, D, E, F, and the middle one is G. And that's it. This is the order. It's starting from the top, is going around, and when it's finishing, it's adding the middle one here, which is the G one. So for B and C, these are the guys. So let's make another one, a simple one, a tree. It's having A, which is the top, B, the side, C here on the side, D is on the bottom, and G, which is in the middle, like I said. Okay, so the same goes for everything. This is actually what I wanted to actually visualize very extremely clearly which segments are opening. This will further help me to actually know, because you see here in this diagram here, I have the same notations, but the wiring is weird. It's very extremely weird, the wiring. So I have to deal with the wiring, but I have to be extremely clear where the segments are and what to lit up. And this is a very good aid, extremely good aid for me, this column, to actually tell me. And also this one is translating, is actually showing me the number. But this column is showing me what it should be on and what should be remain off, pretty much. Okay. And I did a test here. I made the wiring here at this stage here. I was concerned only with the wiring, and I wasn't concerned with actually driving it. I'm absolutely manually drive everything, and it is working. It is working. If I'm switching these jumpers here, you see the respective. This is the C1 and C2. It means column 1 and column 2, which are the blue ones that we are having here. And this segment, pretty much the third one. So that's why we know 3A, 3B, 3C, and etc. The com are these guys here on diagonal here. This, and I actually label them in parallel with the image that I'm having here to not get too confused. And C1 and C2 is actually exactly like here, column 1 and column 2. And it's easy to make a comparison, which is which, and go actually on this table. I'm going on the table and finding the respective segment that is lighting up at column doi with com 2 here. So it should lit up E, and E is this guy here. You see, it's on the side. This guy here. Let's do that. So this is column 2, and everything is 1, and I believe it was com 2, and it is indeed A element, E segment lighting up this guy here. So it is working. This is a basic, extraordinarily basic functionality that I wanted to actually see that the display, the segments working. So this is going into the bread right now. Here is my attempt of driving the same thing, but instead of these jumpers, I wanted to add transistors, and I couldn't add transistors because the simulator here is doing something extremely weird, and I don't understand it. For some reason, if I'm adding a transistor, is adding potential, a positive or a negative voltage when it should be floating. In reality, they are floating, real transistors. But here in the simulator is adding a little bit of potential, and that is screwing up everything, and nothing works. As you can see here, let me close that up. You see this gray square? This is actually floating. Nothing works. Is no potential, not a negative potential, not a positive potential. So it's nothing there. It's like it's staying in air. That's what floating means. And you can see it on the segments as well. They only have this blue negative because of the columns here. Here on the columns, I didn't put these gates, these buffers. This is a buffer. Let me actually show you the name. The name of the buffer is 74126. I'm always using it in all my simulations. And then after using it so much here in simulation in Proteus, I actually search it on eBay, and I buy it from there because I start to realize it's quite useful, especially for simulations, but also in reality. In reality, I didn't find too much usage for it. I never use it, but now recently, and I will show you shortly in a few moments, I will show you a very, very interesting functionality of this buffer. What I believe it is really made for. I believe this was the principal motive that it was made for. So right now, if I'm let's continue with this test. So let's open also the E segment, C2 and COM2. It was, and indeed it is lighting up only that specific segment. If I want other segments, C and whatever else, I can do that like that. What I was also thinking here, here is something else. Here I played here. I have a note here. So I will read this, and hopefully, and I will give you some explanation after that. I just figured it out that I cannot make each character apart. By character, I mean digit. Each digit. Digit 1, 2, 3, 4 until 9. That's what I'm referring. I was hoping I could make a table from component logic, pretty much some circuits that are creating a single character. Character 2, not character, a single digit, a digit 2, then another circuit which are showing digit 3, another circuit showing digit 4, and so on. So I was hoping I could make a table from component logic and only iterate through it, but it is not working like that at all, unfortunately. And this was my escaping goat, and it wasn't goat at all, and it didn't escape. I couldn't escape with it. I couldn't make it work like that. That logic is not viable. It's not working like that. The only solution is to lit only one segment at a time, and then the second segment. What I mean, I have to lit up only this guy. A segment, then lit up this B segment, then lit up this C segment one by one, but not in the same time to actually form a single digit from them. That like in parallel, all at once. I cannot do that. So until you make the entire character you want, but one by one, then reset and start again, and this at a very at a fast speed. This is done from code very efficiently. So the conclusion is that I cannot make a table with digits and count through them and actually showing the digit from that particular circuit that I'm having for that particular digit, and that's what I was trying to make here, and in this entire save file that I'm having here. So this was 2 days ago when I tried this. On the point of giving up, I swear to God. But then I I did had left in plan with a couple of shift registers. So these two guys, these two shift registers, and I played with one shift register with this 4-bit for shift register, and I played with it. So here, 74 194, this 4-bit guy, and I played all day long 194. No, yeah, this guy. So I played with it a ton to understand how to drive it. Basically, what is all that I tried. All that you are seeing here, it's in its title, 74 194 basic, 4 bits bidirectional shift register, and I played with it, and I finally figured it out. It's pretty much what it's doing is let me show you this. Is mirroring what is on the left side here in the inputs, is mirroring into the outputs. So if I'm doing, I believe this, you see that bit that is the first one is mirrored here on the first output, and then it's shifted down. Pretty much, it's doing it a little bit too fast probably. Let me slow it down. So 10, 5 hertz, and now when I'm pressing this guy, you see how? Pay attention here in this area. You see here, so it will mirror this guy that is on the input. Here are the inputs. The four, this D, 0, D1, D2, D3 are the inputs. And whatever I'm having here, whatever red square I'm having, if I'm having this guy here, red, it will mirror it here. It will start here, and then it will shift it down until nothing remains, until all the pins are negative as a default. You know. So this, let's actually do that. Not like that, like that. And when I'm clicking here, pay attention here in this area. So now it started at 14 and going down to 13 and 12, and this is all that is doing. And this this is what I struggled with yesterday to actually understand it. And what is doing? This is doing the shift right mode, meaning from the top to bottom here, and this is the left mode, which is inverse from the bottom to the top. Okay, so only these two guys are inverse. One is positive, one is negative, and they are inverse, but the rest remains the same. Okay, and here is a very cool. I believe this one. It's a very cool. It's like a game. You see, this is doing it by itself. It's only having one single transistor here in a not configuration as an inverter configuration, and is doing all this interesting, very interesting, trailing, and it's very cool. I have a similar game, but for the other guy, for the other shift register. So this is it for this. I really try to use it with. I believe I had it here somewhere at some point. No, 4028. This is something else. I tried. After I understood how it's working, I didn't really need it. I needed something else in my application. Save no. So I needed something else in my LCD driving. What I'm having here, I needed something else. So then I had this other. It took me one day actually to play with this guy to make that save file that you see in there, and it took me some brain power to concentrate to make all that stuff, and actually read the entire datasheet. And actually I took the data from the datasheet and applied it and made the settings in that save file. And you just seen me playing just a moment ago. Those are made directly from the data. They are from the explanations inside the datasheet itself. It's how it's working. So now let's jump to the winner here. This is the winner, and it did fit the bill, and it is the right horse. This is absolutely seamlessly. It worked absolutely perfectly for the application what I need to use right now. So this is called 74164. So 164 is next, this guy. And I also had to play a little bit to understand, to figure it out. And it's very simple. It's having only these two inputs here. I can link them together like it's here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If I'm linking them like this, it's also working. And also game here, ring counter or Johnson counter, exactly like the other one. So if I'm playing it, when I'm sending a serial input, it will clock it. It will shift it down. Okay. Per each clock, it will shift one flip flop down, because inside is having a bunch of flip flops, and it will shift it down per each flip flop. The signal. And if I'm putting multiple signals, you see, per each clock, and they will get shifted down as I'm pressing here. So this should be synchronous. From a PIC microcontroller, I will send the clock and the signal in the same time. And when it's 0, I will not send any signal, pretty much. I will leave it hanging to the ground, to a resistor probably. And so it will always have a 0 input, pretty much. And I will only switch the clock from the PIC microcontroller. This is the logic. And it's quite easy. It's quite easy. Some people are afraid by shift registers, but it's not that hard. It's actually a very good and very easy. It's not easy. Nothing is easy, but it's extremely helpful. It's doing a lot of good job. And it will help your ass. Especially if you have a small microcontroller like I have, 12F508, with 8 pins and only 5 in-outs, I believe it was. No? 5 in-outs, but I believe, yeah, and one single input. And so 6 inputs and 5 outputs, pretty much. And this is the logic. This is the game. You also use a NOT gate here. And as you can see, I have different points here because I linked this NOT gate here. Instead of the last one, I linked it somewhere there, and I get different patterns. And they are weird, a little bit weird. But it's interesting. It's like a game, and I like it. I like games like this. I really like them. Electronic games. And this guy here, I was testing, and I was trying to figure out why they are 2 inputs. What is the difference? And I go to ChatGPT. You know, ChatGPT here. Let me. I believe login. Okay. And what the fuck? Login, motherfucker. Continue, motherfucker. All right. So I believe this was yesterday. Yes, yesterday when I chat with this motherfucker. This is a motherfucker. I will scroll down for you to actually read if you have the pleasure. But trust me, trust me. So the bottom line. So I will scroll down like this very easily. It's not that much. I was asking about these two pins. What pin input A and input B represents on this 74164? I believe this is it. Correct? Correct. 74164. Okay, good. So I will scroll down like this and show you its answers. You see, and pretty much what he did, and it is doing it quite often. It is not really giving me a good answer. I'm not completely sure what is the logic behind this ChatGPT, but for some reason I don't really trust it because uh, I'm getting something else in reality and in my Proteus, and this is not the first time. This is I don't know. I had many problems. I asked this ChatGPT, this IE, artificial intelligence, my ass, and it is giving the impression that he knows what he's talking about. It really does. It really does give the impression, a strong impression is giving you. But in the very end, if you are reading all of this shit, you will get the conclusion, as I am, that is shifty. Is not really is weird. Is not doing a good job. Is not. I'm not sure. So in the end, this is his explanation. Not this. This is the conclusion from its explanation. I hope you read that because it's important and it is interesting to read it. So theoretically, that's why I put here theoretically. This is also my note. What is the role of input A and input B? If input A is high and input B is high as well, so both of them are high, a clock one pulse, so clock once, data bit is loaded into output, is loaded here and is represented here. You clock again, okay, and nothing is shifted, nothing goes down. So nothing moves. Only when input B, meaning this guy here, the red one that I'm having here, only when input B is low, and you clock once, you clock a pulse, you make another clock, data is actually shifted. So this is theoretically, this is what ChatGPT is continuously trying to say and is hanging on this truth, I believe, from his perspective. So this should be the correct operation. But here in the simulator, in my Proteus simulator, and in reality, it is shifting when A and B are high, both together. But not as in this theory at all. It is not working, not by a long shot, not at all. It is not working at all. How the theory is saying. At least this guy is saying. This ChatGPT. He got some answers from somewhere. It should be like that. I really believe it. I truly believe it. But I truly believe this ChatGPT, he is right. I want to believe him. I really want to believe him. But in reality, I tested here in Proteus as well. I thought maybe Proteus is bullshitting me. Is not, maybe a component is fucked up. Like this one is not actually performing correctly, but it is performing exactly as in reality. There's nothing wrong with Proteus. And also in reality, there's nothing wrong in reality. It's doing what it's doing, but not as explained here. Nothing actually stops, but it's continuously shifted. So it doesn't matter. B is doing absolutely nothing, or B is in the way, pretty much. Is literally in the way. Is a complexity of the integrated circuit that is not required. A useless complexity. Absolutely useless complexity. From my interpretation, from how I'm seeing the thing, it is. So probably they are bullshitting even inside the chips. When they are presenting, we built this kind of chip, and they are bullshitting. They are adding more unnecessary complexity. Pretty much, this is how I'm perceiving it. It should have been only one input, and that's it. I am totally perplexed. I have no idea how to use them differently. And because they are not working differently at all. They are only using in like this. Like here. Link together and only one signal you send to both of them at once. And this is how they are working. This is the chip. This is how the chip is actually working. But if you link them separately, you get into the woods and you cannot get out of the woods. You are going into the dark. It's wrong. It's not giving you any results pretty much. All right. So you get my point. All right. And pretty much this is it. I tested it as a basic. So I tested it as a basic. You can see my Yahoo mail here. Yeah, you can chat with me on my mail, but don't send nasty stuff. Send me nice stuff, beautiful stuff. Send me, not bullshit, not bad stuff. All right. So okay, let's close this guy out and go back to our LCD and open the next guy. This B and C, you see them. You see this C, but actually I didn't do anything. I only prepared it for the next stage. So these two files are the same at the moment. And on the C file, I will do something else next time. Today I have to work on that file actually to add more complexity and more stuff. So yesterday I did all of this stuff while I was trying to understand what A and B means for this chip for 74164, and I use it. And like I said, it worked absolutely brilliantly. Is a perfect chip for this job. It's absolutely perfect. I cannot stress it enough. It's absolutely gorgeous. What I built here, I actually built the real and the actual logic and the actual mechanism of flipping of that alternative square wave. I use the XOR gate that I'm having it here. So this is the logic that I implemented for the entire digit that I'm having there for all the 7 segments. Okay, so all the 7 segments are driven with this logic circuit that I'm having here, but it is looking like this. This is the actual logic what I'm having here, and this I added very late because I noticed when I'm switching from here, some guys were starting to switch here, and if they are switching here, some potential is falling onto the LEDs, onto the segments, and having a little bit of potential there is I don't think is good. So I'm trying to keep it free of any kind of potential, to leave it floating, not connected to anything as possible. I will see what problems I will have in reality. I hope it will not be a problem. I hope I will not have to change all of this. This is very, very, very problematic. Very problematic what I'm having here. Also very, very important. Let me show you how it's working. Close this one. Okay. So let me show you how it's working. I'm having the clock here very slowly beating. It's beating very slowly. At 1 hertz is beating. 1 per second. 1 beat per second is doing. So when I'm playing, that is doing stuff. And as you can see, absolutely every segment is floating. It's having these gray squares. You see? So no negative, no positive, nothing. It's not connected to anything. It's in air. All its pins are floating in air. Yeah, this is very manually as well. I'm shifting through this shift register absolutely manually, and I'm clocking it also manually. So right now I'm introducing this bit here. Now I'm stopping it, and I'm shifting it with a couple of clocks. I believe here on the third. And now I'm inserting another bit. Bam. I'm inserting it. And when I'm clocking next time, it will shift everything down a little bit. This one will become 0, this one. This will become 0, and this one. So these guys will shift down 1 square, pretty much. And right now, nothing is lighting up. You see, nothing is lighting up. But if I want this character, this segment open up, I have to enable it from here. If I'm enabling it, it will lit up this guy. And you see, 1 per second is moving, is switching from negative to positive. 1 per second is lighting one or the other, depending the sense of the current. So it's pretty much having positive and negative somewhere in the middle. But the others are getting some potential on their pins, but on the other side is floating. So I don't think is a problem. I don't think is a problem. Having a little bit of potential there is a problem, because if this floating is catching some transient voltage, from diverse sources, from radio wave even. If it's too sensitive, it can catch a little bit of potential from radio waves, and it can lit up the motherfucker. You can have a little bit of ghosting there, and you have no idea from where. That's the problem. But I'm thinking maybe too far away. Let's concentrate on the logic that I'm having right now. So now, if I'm clocking one more time right now, if I'm pressing this button, everything will shift down. You see, and remember, is C element that we have right now, and when I'm clocking, bang, it's shifting. It shifts to D segment here, and it's also clocking it as well, because all these guys are doing is making that back and forward thing. I will probably I want to play around and see if I can find a solution by replacing these XOR gates, to replace them with NOT gates, inverter gates. I will have to test the theory. I didn't think of it. I will see. I will see if it's actually a thing to use. I think it might be. All that I want is to simplify the circuit, not to have too many wires. My biggest problems are the wires. All right. So this is what the circuit is doing. And if I want to actually make a character or make a digit number 3, I will have to send one segment data, the code for one segment, lit it up for a certain time, then jump to another segment, to another, until I make the character from one by one like that. And because the frequency is very, very fast, and then restart everything from again to do it again. But running it at a certain speed, I don't know, 50 hertz, 100 hertz, 1 kilohertz probably. I believe maximum that a display is supporting is 100 kilohertz. LCD display is running correctly without problems. 100 kilohertz, I believe it was the maximum. But I didn't. I only is my suspicion. I didn't check it per se. I'm talking from my ass right now a little bit. But it's my impression. It might be the maximum acceptable, pretty much. That's my impression. So don't go too high. You can run it lower, but not too high. So be careful, not to go to megahertz. So this is all that I did so far. I say that I made some pretty interesting progress on next stage that I will try to make today, and that's why I stopped and I made this video until this stage that I am right now, because the next level, the next wave of circuitry, it will be a bit more complicated. I believe I will have to use a PIC microcontroller, my F508 PIC microcontroller, to actually send the data into these pins. I believe is this input here, the clock from the PIC microcontroller, and pins in outs, and this enable guy that is doing a very good and very important job here. Very, very important. And yeah, so see, when I'm let me repeat now to actually see a problem, and how I solved the problem. So when I'm let me reset it. Okay, back to 0. Let's do the exact same thing. I'm introducing that bit, shifting it down. I'm introducing another bit here. Okay, so right now at this point, when I'm doing in the process of making the bit, but I didn't get to the last bit here. This guy is starting up. You see it? It's running. It's already starting to run. The signal is there, and it is passing. The signal is passing through all these guys here, and it's doing a correct job. It's doing what it should have to do, but it's not correct from the display point of view. The display should not show that until I finalize the data that I wanted to send. So now when I'm clocking again, it's bang. Now this is the final bit that I wanted to send, and I wanted to actually lit up this segment. So this is a problem, because while I'm sending data, while I'm shifting the data, some guys here are starting to work, and that's a problem. The solution for the problem is this module here, this little module that is enabling. So let's do the test again. So I'm reset it from there. Now I will, right until now, it was already all the time enabled. So now I will disable it. Right now it's disabled, and I will introduce the data again. So when I'm introducing the bit there, I'm shifting it, I'm putting it here, and then 1, 2, 3. You see, you can barely see it. And now when I'm inserting another bit, it's bang. Remember this C element was lighting up, but because this guy is disabled, is actually disabling all these gates that are here, and these gates, this is running fine. You know, it's clocking, it's doing the clocking here, but because it's not getting anything on its input here, it doesn't know what to do, and it's not actually displaying anything here. It's floating. All right. So now I'm in the middle pretty much of the data sending. I'm sending the data, but I'm in the process of sending it. Now when I finish the transaction, when I finish sending the data, nothing is displayed there. Is okay, it's fine. And now I'm sending a signal. Yes, you reach the final stage of sending the data. Now enable the motherfucker. And when I'm enabling the motherfucker, is not randomly lighting up some other guys there while the data is sending. Is lighting up only the one guy that I want it to lit up. And this is it. This is it. This is the construction what I made here, the functionality, and it's doing exactly what I wanted it to do, not what he wanted to do. You know? And yeah, this is all that I did so far. It's a little bit of logic. Yeah, I wanted to tell you, I promise you, I will tell you something about this buffer gate. This buffer gate, its functionality is very important in this particular project. Right now, in this project, so as you can see, look closely, this is having a gray, this is inactive, it's not active, but this is having a positive on its output, and it is active. So let's see which one are active and which are inactive. This is inactive, this is active. So this guy is active, inactive, 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 and this guy is active as well. We will look here on this guy. We will look here, unfortunately, this last one, because the clock is running all the time, it's sending negative signal and positive signal through this wire, and this is coming through all the inputs of the gates, this buffer gates is done. Okay, so all the clock signal is coming through the input gates, buffer gates, and these are deactivated. Okay, they are not working, but this one is sending and receiving potential on its pins. Pretty much is receiving positive from this direction, from to surge through the gate into the negative rail when it's negative on the input, and when it's positive on the input, is sending that positive through its output and surging through those LEDs through that other side. So this actually doing is allowing positive and negative voltages to be driven. You can drive positive and negative in the same time, well, one at a time, but you can drive them. You can actually use a negative or a positive signal with a single component. That's the most important reason of its existence. I believe this was the main motive it was created. So it's a very important component, especially when I have to use a clock like it is right now. I'm clocking through this gate, and it is doing the job that I want it to do. Okay, this is it for now. What I will do next, I will use a microcontroller, a PIC microcontroller, my 12F508, and I will send data through these pins, 1, 2, this master reset as well, because after a couple of cycles, actually after 6 cycles, you see, if you number here, you see there are 4 and 2, and in total there are 6. So I only need 6 steps. You know, I need 6 lines of code to send through the data pin, and then I will have to reset. It will reset back to 1, and it will start counting to 6 again, and that's the master reset. I will actually use it from this shift register to reset everything, not to count more steps, you know, spend more time to actually reset it and start again and introducing a new data stream, pretty much. And also the enable, when it's the last bit here, enable it in the same time, and when it's clocking the next time is resetting and is inserting the next bit on the input, and also clocking in the same time, and it's adding everything. It's a bit more complex, but remember, these are 4 pins that are used from a 5-pin microcontroller. This is cool. This is very cool. I can do it with that small microcontroller. I can do it. I can control the entire display number. I can make a number with a single PIC microcontroller and a single shift register. That's it. This is all that it takes. Very interesting, no? It is. I do think so. I do think so. All right. Thank you very, very, very much for listening. This was a hard lesson probably. And I will see you next time when I will come with some updates. Bye-bye for now from your favorite artist electronics, Mr. Q12. And good luck to all of us. Bye-bye.